You're part of a long tradition at our church. The very first 8612 trip was in June of 2003. June 2003. Was anybody here not born in 2003?
It depends when.
Born after June of 2003. So she wasn't even alive when this started. Man, that's cool. So, over the years, there have been many adults who have loved you guys and loved our church and loved Christ enough to give a week of their vacation, a week of their time to making this trip possible for you. And tonight you're going to get to hear from one of them that some of you may not know because it's been a couple years since he's been involved. But I'm going to tell you, this guy, one of my favorite all-time 8612 sponsors, an amazing guy. You may know him, you may not know him, but either way, give it up for Chief Jimmy Purdue. Come on. Also with Jimmy today will be his little deputy.
I've never given this speech before in uniform, partly because everybody who knows me, I've been working with all the kids all year long, and so it occurred to me while I was getting ready to talk tonight that there are some kids in this group that I've either never had the pleasure of being around or just don't know me, and I thought that you might think, who's this old guy standing up here talking to us about stuff he didn't know anything about. So I wanted the time to make sure that I wore my uniform today for two reasons. One is because I want you to understand that I do know what I'm talking about, because this isn't just a part-time thing for me. This is my profession. This is what I do. I've been doing it now for 34 years, longer than everybody in this room has been allowed, sitting down at least, and a good portion of even the one in the back. This is my passion. This is what I care about deeply, and this group is a group that I care about very much so, and I want to make sure that you're all safe. So for the next 10 minutes, and everybody who's been out and heard this speech knows what I'm about to tell you next. For the next 10 minutes, I need your absolute 100% full attention. No cell phones, no chit-chatting, no talking. But I'll call you out if I do, and that means everybody. Because for the next 10 minutes, we're going to talk about things that are not just important, but they're things that very possibly could save your life. You're going into an environment, you're going into a community that is first and foremost not cop-out. That is not, it shouldn't be a big surprise to anybody, but it's an area of town that is going to be ripe for opportunity to minister to people who need to hear about Jesus Christ. But there's just as many people in those environments that really don't want to hear that. They don't want to be part of that, and they're very likely to be the sort of people that want to disrupt the message that we're trying to convey. And there'll be some things and places you're going to be at that the opportunity to do those sort of things from their behalf is pretty significant. We live in a very dangerous time right now. The world is a very dangerous place. Today marks a very tragic anniversary in the history of America. The worst shooting event in the history of America occurred today in Orlando. Not that that's going to occur on any trip you're going to be on, but it's just endemic of the world that we live in today. And so the things that we're going to talk about here for the next couple of minutes are the things that I need to make sure that you're aware of, not to scare you, just to make you aware of how dangerous things are out there. First and foremost, the places you're going to have some very safe things in place to make sure that you're very well protected. As we always do every year we go, we contact the local police department and we get a good rundown of the location that you're going to, all the different ins and outs of the different places, all the different facilities. We talk about specific places and all those sort of things. And we have passed all that information to Robert, and he'll talk about each one of those in just a minute. Most of them, frankly, are places that just from common sense will take care of most everything. There are a few places that are some challenges, and there's some places that frankly will create some opportunities for Robert and his security team to make sure that you guys are safe. Now, we joke about with the adults that this speech is boiled down to the don't be stupid speech. And that's what a lot of it is about. I'm going to talk for a minute to this group right here, because this is the group that tends to be on the more stupid side, at least right here. I've done this a long time, and I just know One of the things, who's been to the trip to New Orleans? Who's been the trip to Memphis? Been the trip to, one of the other, I think that we're in some areas that have a very high population of gang activity. Those are the areas that we went to. There are some areas you're going to go to this trip that are going to have those things. Not that you're going to be in the gang-specific areas, but there's going to be an environment around that sort of happening. That things like that could happen. So one of the things that we want to make sure we don't do is that this is not the opportunity, not the time to puff out your chest and show how big a guy you are. This is the time to take care of the people around you, and you are directly responsible for making sure that the people on either side of you are taken care of. And it doesn't mean doing something stupid like whenever somebody challenges you or somebody does something or says something to you that you immediately bow back up to them and start challenging back. Flashing cute little gang signs is not cute. That's how people get hurt. Mouthing off something that you under your breath is the way people get hurt. Those sort of things are the sort of attitudes and sort of things that will get people hurt in the trip, and that's what we can't have. You need to make sure that you allow God to show to you every single time, everything that you do, every circumstances. And sometimes that means, just like Jesus did, it means to turn the other cheek. Look away, go away, and don't challenge it. Go find an adult, let the adult take care of the situation. Do not let yourself get involved in that sort of stuff. I think everybody understands what I'm talking about, but I'll make sure that that's clear, particularly this group here. And I ask you to, most of the seniors have heard this spiel, but make sure that you challenge them as well. The adults will be the ones to take care of it. They should be around. They should be the ones to look after you. There is a great opportunity, as there always is on these sort of trips, to make sure that you are doing God's work. Don't be that person. Don't be the person that causes somebody else to not be able to hear the message of Jesus Christ. Don't be the person who is so disruptive in the behavior either at the site or at any of the events that causes somebody else to stumble and not be able to see the one chance that they're going to maybe get to hear about Jesus. You don't want to be that person. You don't want that on your conscience. You don't want to live that. You don't want to live that way. So there is an excellent security plan in place. You make sure that you live up to that security. Make sure that you live up to the rules. And like I've talked about before, I'm not going to be there, but I wasn't there last year, and everything went great. Robert does a fabulous job of taking care of this sort of stuff. But the one thing I want to make sure that I want to emphasize for him on his behalf is that there are times when things happen. And we've had some incidents occur over the last many years. And when Robert says to stop or to go, whichever direction it is, that's what everybody needs to do. Well, there are times for discussion later, and it's not when he says the initial phase. Because he knows things that you probably don't know or aware of, things that you're not aware of. That is not the time to debate and sit around and have a conversation about it. It's the time to act as he instructs you, and then we'll figure it out from there. As I always come to this is now the third time, I guess, that I've come giving a speech when I'm not going on the trip, and I have to admit, I leave with some very melancholy feelings because I look around, I want to be there. I really do. I look at the kids, I look at people that I've been around, I look at some of the ones that I never had the opportunity to, and I know what you're going to get the opportunity to do in the city of Nashville. I know that there's somebody somewhere waiting to hear about Jesus Christ in this group. You don't know who it is, and you don't know where they're going to be. But I promise you, if you leave your eyes open and your heart's wide open, he will be able to bring that person to you, and you'll be able to come home safely and sound, which is what everybody's goal is. Okay? With that, I'm going to step back. Robert, go ahead.
So Jimmy talked about some of the locations are going to be a little sketchy at times. There are kind of three different categories. You have places like Vanderbilt University, Mount Zion Baptist Church, good places that we can go. We're pretty safe. You've got some like the youth encouragement and harvest hands that are not really a safety concern, but you need to make sure your valuables are secure. You need to always be aware and alert of your surroundings. And there are some others, though, that are a little bit more sketchy. Napier Community Center, where we're going to actually be for our block party on Sunday. So we're actually going to have some police presence there. The National Rescue Mission, where we're actually doing concerts, that's another place we need to be very vigilant. The Women's Rescue Mission and Martha O'Brien. So some of those names are places where you're definitely not going to want to be going off on your own, and you want to be listening to your leaders. There are two other key things I want to pass along to you. Vanderbilt University has a rule that kids cannot be out playing by themselves. There always has to be adult supervision. So we will have adult leaders rotating on watch to be able to be out there watching you. If you find yourself, however, in an area not with an adult, you are wrong, and and you need to fix that, which means go find a leader, a place where everybody else is. We will have some designated places for you to be, and we'll share that with you when we get there. The other thing is about curfew. So once we actually pass curfew and you be in your rooms, there won't be going out of rooms, and we're actually going to have some hall monitors that are going to be making sure of that as well. But just want to make sure that you're doing your part. Watch each other too. If you see somebody going off on their own to a place they shouldn't be, make sure you say something about it. You can say it to them, but then also if you feel like you can't change the situation, make sure you get a leader and they can help out. All right? Good? We do any questions? Or?
Anybody have any questions for Robert or Chief? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. In a few minutes, we're going to go do some block party training, but first, I'm going to invite Amy Fail up. Are you back there, Amy? Okay. So one of the cool things about this trip is that we're going to have the opportunity to do a lot of ministry with kids. And in particular, we're going to have the opportunity to do ministry with kids in communities that may differ from the ones that many of us grew up in. And so just like when we've gone to senior living centers and we've learned some specific strategies or tactics for how to speak with the senior adults, we want to make sure that we arm ourselves with all of the tools available to us on how we can best interact with these kids and do ministry with them. Andy has been a teacher for like 47 years or so. No, less than that, but a lot. And she's not old. That sounded wrong. She has been doing teaching for many years, including in environments of affluence and environments of financial insecurity as well. And she's got a lot of background. And so without further ado, here is Ms. Vale.
Okay. Thank you. First thing I wanted to say is that to some degree, kids are kids everywhere, right? And you have gotten to work with kids on previous mission trips. Some of you get to work with kids here at church. When we go down to Cornerstone during the Christmas store, a lot of you get to work with kids down there. And some of the same things that work here are going to work there, right? So just kind of jumping in and doing whatever the kids are doing is a great way to connect with kids and start up conversations. You might have opportunities to work with little kids. Some of you are going to get to work with little kids, like two-year-olds are going to be so cute. All the way up through kids who are your age. Some of these programs have services all the way through 8th grade in the summer. And the reason that this area that we're going to has so many different programs for kids in the summer is that it's an area of need. It's an area of poverty where a lot of kids, if they were home, they would be by themselves all day long, or just with other kids in their apartment complex or whatever. But so the first thing I wanted to say is just the same things that work here are going to work there. Just sit down with a kid if they're playing with Play-Doh and start playing with Play-Doh with them and ask them questions about what they're making. If they're coloring a picture, ask them questions about what they're coloring. Tell them you're doing a good job and just ask them questions. That is always a good way to start conversations. But the second thing that I wanted to say is that the kids that you are going to be getting to work with and that you get to serve this week and you get to be like Jesus to them this week and show them love is that a lot of them deal with worries that you and I have never had to deal with. Some of the kids that you will be working with do not know if there will be dinner tonight, not just what's for dinner. Am I going to like it? Am I going to have chicken express again? They don't know if there will be dinner or if there will be enough. Some of them may not have seen one of their parents for a long time because maybe their mom or dad is in prison. Some of them might not get to see their mom for several days because the single mom and she works 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And when that kid goes home from this program where you're working with them, they might be by themselves. They might be hanging out with a neighbor until it's time to go to bed. There might not be anybody to tell them to go to bed or to tell them good night when they go to sleep. And it's also not uncommon for kids who are 8, 9, 10 years old to be the one in charge. They're 8 years old standing there at the stove making macaroni and cheese, giving it to their younger siblings and telling their younger siblings when to take a bath and when to go to bed. They have to be like the adult. So sometimes when kids are in that situation, it can affect their personality, and kids handle it differently. Some kids can get a real tough guy or tough girl attitude and come off very gruff, rude, abrasive, loud. They might seem like they don't really want to have anything to do with you. But some kids can be the opposite. Some kids can be really shy and withdrawn and just not very trusting of new people. And I would say that in either situation, the best thing that you can do is to just hang in there and just do your best to stick with trying to establish a connection, give them attention. They just want attention. They don't get as much attention as you get in your life from your friends or your family, your parents. They just don't get that attention. And so I would say that when you're working with kids, you're there to work with kids, not to hang out with your friend. So when you're in a situation where your job is to work with kids, try to make yourself just jump in there, find somebody to sit next to talk to, and be with them, not be with your friends. Sometimes there are some kids who are really outgoing and boisterous, and a lot of people are really drawn to them. Maybe try to seek out a kid that's off by themselves and doesn't have a friend, and doesn't have anybody to talk to or sit with. Try to go sit with them. If you find yourself in a cluster of about 2 other people, so there's 3 of you from your family group all hanging around 1 or 2 kids, try to make yourself break up and go seek out other kids. There's going to be a lot of kids at the block party, but also at these different programs that we're going to help with that they're established for the summer to help the kids have something to do during the day. So that's it.
Thank you so much. All right, let's spend the rest of our time tonight doing some practical stuff. There's two more pieces we'll be doing. On Sunday night, a week from today, we'll be leading a block party at the Napier Community Center, and everyone here is going to be involved with various areas of responsibility. In just a minute, Dana Rodman's going to come up and tell us about that. We're going to split up into some groups and actually do some training on that. And then at about 7:30, we'll let you guys know that we need to move to our family group times. And so we'll move to family group, where we'll reprise what we did on Thursday, which is the who are you and why are you here speech. If you're wearing the 8612 shirt, someone's going to ask, what's 8612? And you'll have the opportunity to kind of go over that again. You'll also have the opportunity to get to know each other if there's new folks in your group, and to pray together. So block party for 30 minutes, and then family group. So here is Dana Ross to tell you all about it.
Charge, not really, but if you've been here the last couple of weeks or times that we've met, there were posters and you signed up for your job or what you're going to do. If you weren't there or you haven't been here and this is your first time, we went ahead and just placed you. It's 2 hours. We're going to rock the block party. So we're going to go, and I'm going to dismiss our middle schoolers, and you guys are running the carnival, and you need to go to room 205. So you can go ahead and go now. Okay, so the rest of you, I'm just going to read out the names in case you forgot what you signed up for. But for the glam session, you're in room 224. It's Amy Ruth, Grace Ward, Amanda Mullis, Abby Meyer, Adrian Allen, Megan Taylor, Rebecca Carroll, Megan Wilhelm, Alec Dale, Sarah Howard. So that is room 224. Okay, event staff. If you signed up for event staff, you are in, don't have a room number. Whoops, you're with me. I'll figure that out. We'll go to the next one. Okay, face painting. You are in 215. Townsend, Tessa Corley, Mackenzie Becker, Sydney Reynolds, and Laurie Sanders. 221. Okay. Food. And it's all the junior boys. 216. Not all. Carson Reynolds, Andy Ray, Brett Berry, Ryan Rack, and Anderson Dusty. 216. Okay, the rest of you that are, event staff, yes. 206 is